Good evening all. How are we all doing? Retia Callum, yes, that's exactly the plan. In fact, once it's all finished and polished, I'll be making the SketchUp file available for anyone that wants to 3D print it or alter it in any way or anything like that. One of the nice things about doing it with CAD is that it should be a proper structure in terms of 3D, so once it's printed out in 3D it should all click together quite nicely. So what have I been up to? And as you can see, we've now got a reasonably solid underside to the ship now. I was just messing around with the engine mounts and the engine positioning. Obviously this is still very grey box, it's just a case of getting an idea for the scale and the shape. But more importantly, I've spaced out the section spacing here, so these will all be sliced into separate pieces like this. And then these will all be modelled individually and then welded together to form the structure. And I've also put in the floor pieces for what will be H deck and J deck underneath. And you'll notice that we have this column going through the centre, and that's going to be a continuation of what's down here. It just so happens, really just as a fluke, that if we grab the G deck walls and I guess floor template, where the internal lift runs at the moment, you can see that the lift actually lines up perfectly with what would be an internal lift shaft down the centre of the fin, and also the staircase here lines up with what would be the internal stairs, which terminate here. So if I stick on F deck, so you can see where the stairs come down on F deck is actually above where they would also need to be as we work our way down through the neck of the fin. So what that means is we can simply continue that all the way down, literally all the way down to the bottom. So the staircase, which is already there within the reactor room, can follow all of the reactor hardware as it makes its way down the neck of the fin. And given that we have this fin that goes all the way down, that's going to make a perfect, how best to describe it, like a Star Wars style, like really long drop that you can look all the way down, which would look quite cool, I think. And on this side we can have a maintenance lift which goes all the way down as well. So if we stop the main crew lift on F deck where it currently is and just don't have the framework underneath, then we can replace that with a maintenance lift for the rest of the journey from G deck down to the bottom of the fin, which would look really cool. If I fire up the engine a sec. Oh yeah, I was doing a Mega Lights test as well, which was interesting. I'll go through that in a minute. Yeah, but in terms of the other stuff, obviously the FTL ring needs a direct reactor feed. So we need at least 2 really chunky cables going all the way from the reactor directly into the coils. And at the same time, we need all the capacitors and things which give it that initial kick. So, given that the reactor base is here, we can have the power from that directly all the way down what would be this like death tube going all the way down to the bottom of the fin. It's a hell of a long way down. Actually, how tall would that be? So that's 52 meters. That's a long way down. Not sure what that is in feet. 52 meters in feet. That's 170 feet. So that's one hell of a shaft going all the way down there. Yeah, a typical sci-fi danger tube going all the way down. But it's going to be cool because if you can, with this all being sort of gantries and railings and things, you'll be able to look down over the edge and see, all 170 feet all the way to the bottom and see all the tubing and the hardware and everything. Which will be very, very cool. But yeah, it's nice that the stairs and the lift already magically line up, so that was very useful. But that will probably be a reasonably sealed unit on the way down. I mean, we could open up the cargo lift into what would be the refinery and gas processing rooms. But I think there needs to be more general crew access, because we don't want the crew coming into the reactor room to go down to those decks, so it needs a secondary access as well. This is probably the place to do that, because we do have some empty space here we can take and make use of. The other thing that we do need here, however, is we need shuttle bay doors at the back here. So that's going to be for the mining rig that you can get out and fly around, and also perhaps for the repair drones as well. So given that this is part of the engineering structure, it makes more sense to have those docked here than in the main shuttle bay at the back. So I have like a mini shuttle bay here, which would essentially be this space. So we'll open this up, square it off, and make room there for the mining rig and repair craft. And then all the way around the outside of this section here, this is going to be all the refineries, and we can use the cavity for storage bins for the different elements that get processed. And then underneath that, which would be here, this would be the gas collection hardware. So we'll have something, I suppose, a little bit like Red Dwarf. Let me just grab a picture of that a sec. Why is there only pictures of the crew? This is like a terrible quality picture, but okay, so at the front of Red Dwarf, you've got this huge structure, and according to Red Dwarf lore, that is a massive gas scoop, so it basically sucks in all the interstellar medium and then processes that for fuel. So I figured if we have something similar, then we'll have some kind of almost like a dish at the front, which might end up looking suspiciously like a deflector, but it's not a deflector. Some kind of like mesh-like disc which channels the gases from gas giants into the refining hardware. So yeah, so that's pretty much where we're going with that. Oh, and also, We also have space for a viewing room down here, like an observation lounge, because if we get where's the template for that? So at the moment we've got crew quarters all the way around this ring. Now if we sacrifice some crew quarters here, then immediately below this point is this cavity. Hang on, if I can get the camera in there. So we've got quite a large cavity underneath. So what we can do is we can build a stairwell here, which goes down into that cavity underneath there. And then we can build like an underslung observation lounge with 360 windows all the way around. And that's a great place for getting into it there. So that could be good. And conversely to that, we could have some stairs access at the back here as well. So again, if we sacrifice a couple of crew quarters and have stairs going down, that can actually take us down to the cargo holds and ultimately some of these rooms down here, which could just be a nice bit of secondary access to get things down there. Because I was thinking what we could do is we could have a cargo lift here. We'll still have one in the shuttle bay, so there'll be a cargo lift like there. But if we have one here as well, then that particular cargo lift would be around about there, which is in line of where all the cargo holds are going to be. So this entire cavity at the back here is just going to be multiple cargo holds. And there'll be 2 decks tall as well, because as you can see down here, we've got lots of space to play with. So yeah, still lots to do on the interior, but it's nice getting to the point where we're now reasonably set in stone where things are going to go, and having everything start to line up is really good. Like here, this is particularly useful. Having the lift shaft and the stairs line up so perfectly, that's going to make building that out much easier. And again, having this cavity space here for other things we need is good as well. Okay, so what are we doing this evening? Well, I guess as we've been talking about the stairs, I guess we need to sort out the distance discrepancy between decks there. So the F deck interior level, right, and that needs to come down a bit. So I think I've moved this in engine, but not in SketchUp. So I just need to work out where the heights are with that. But yeah, here is what would be the shaft all the way down. So if that's the base of the reactor there, and looking through the floor grating, that's your 170 feet shaft all the way to the bottom of the ring. And of course you've got the ring hardware here. So in this section, so this is all the FTL hardware, and then running around the edge of this is going to be all the power feeds and coolant loops and all that stuff. And all of that needs to be routed down through here, which of course is all coming from up there. So if we've got a nice vertical shaft going all the way down, again it gives you that really nice sort of Star Wars sci-fi vibe of having this really deep shaft going all the way through the middle of the ship. Okay, so today's problem is this. So that all needs sorting out. We won't need to do the railings because I've built a tool for that. Speaking of which, let's take a copy of that one. Okay, so that's 250 units lower than where it otherwise would have been. And this one is 200. Right, so 250 for that lot. And 200 for that lot. Okay, so there's our gap that we need to fix. So one of the reasons I used gantries in here rather than just giving it a solid floor was because there's a lot of infrastructure which needs to run up the walls. So rather than just cutting holes everywhere to run those things through, it seemed to make more sense just to leave a gap all the way around, so that we can just route things up and down as needed. I think I'll probably stick with that, at least in this room. Rid of that for now. Actually, no, let's not get rid of that for now. Let's hide that layer for now. Yeah, absolutely. Engineering is serious business. Yeah, engineering will have its own break room. We'll probably do that off of the engineering control room somewhere, so it's nearby. Yeah, there's a bit of work that needs doing across D and E decks as well. Mostly just fleshing out some of the grey boxing with more detailed framework. So if we look at the template there, you can see that we're still very much in sort of grey boxing land with this. So I would say at least out to here, we'll replace that with proper framework. But we've got, where's the FDEC template, that one. So we do actually have this. And because we measured it all cleverly to begin with, all of this is set to the same scale and everything all lines up. So out to here, this is going to be easy to flesh out because all we're doing is we're just extruding the existing templates. So all the corridor segments are going to be exactly the same size as what's already there in the template. This bit's not templated yet, so that's going to need more work, but I think what I'll probably do for the demo is stop here, because that's pretty much where it is in the current demo anyway. So the only grey boxing bits will be beyond this corridor here. May as well stick that template on eDeck while we're here anyway. So the question with this is, are we going to need an additional step? And I have a suspicion we're going to, because stretching that down is going to increase the point between steps, which is going to be too much. Yeah, it's already 21 centimeters, which is kind of a typical domestic step height in a house. You don't want to go much higher than that, so I'd say we're going to need at least 2 more steps. And I imagine we might get away with taking it to here instead, not having this bit. What about on this side? Okay, we might actually get lucky with this. What I'll do is if I take a copy of that and that, then we can get rid of some of this stuff that's in the way. It's more like it. So when I built this first time round, poly counts mattered. So there's a lot of faces that would have been deleted internally to try and save some poly count, but it's not really an issue anymore. Nanite, basically. I mean, nanite doesn't completely remove all limitations on poly counts. I mean, it's still a minor factor, but it's for the amount of polys in a mesh like this, it doesn't matter at all. I was wondering whether they'd come up on the stream. They're moving outside to the aviary very soon, within the next couple of days, so that's going to be a bit of a shock for them. Hey Solin, welcome to the stream. Yeah, hopefully the carpet will be fitted Saturday, maybe Friday night, probably Saturday. So it'd be nice to get that done finally. I need to put some curtain poles up tomorrow. It's been painted. Claire wants to give the ceiling another quick coat of white paint just to hide some of the edging that's been, well, not very well painted, to be honest. It hasn't had enough coats, so there's a few patchy bits around the outside. She just wants to clear those up. And then I need to screw the Starlink dish to the wall and run the cable through for that. And then I can get my desk in there. So if the carpet goes down on Saturday latest, then Saturday afternoon I might actually start moving stuff in there, which is kind of an exciting point to get to. I have no idea actually, Chris. I've never tried, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah, well, to be honest, if everything is connected and working, then we could have a dev shed stream for Sunday's stream, which could be good. I can't really stream in there at the moment because it's like super echoey because there's no carpet or anything down. But yeah, once we've got rid of the echo, that would be perfect. Wasn't expecting that to connect quite as perfectly as that, so that's good. Yeah, I'd like to think I had that much foresight. Yeah, I'm just thinking what I'll do is I'll round that off and then blend that in as well. Actually, let's measure this with a bit more accuracy than that. Ah, well done, Scotty. Good work. So yeah, with the latest dev build, we've just opened up the bug reporting tool again, so we can start collecting things that need to be fixed. With the demo update looming. Actually, I don't think I've mentioned when that is. So we're basically eyeballing the 24th of December, Christmas Eve, for the demo update, which gives us 5 weeks and 6 days, I believe, exactly, to get all this done. It's not a lot of time, and there's still quite a bit to do in that time, so we'll have to just plow on with it and see how well we can do. But yes, so less than 6 weeks for the demo update. Press F1 to open up the bug reporting tool. In-game, obviously. Actually, I think I'll remove these faces, because when we sub-D this, we're going to want to have it fit the existing shape over here. Obviously, the existing geometry is quite low poly, so for now we'll just blend it into that. Obviously, in the future, this needs replacing with a high poly version. So if we make sure these are quads, so other than that one and that one, they're all quads, although we can do that instead, make it a quad. Okay. Something it doesn't like about this one. Make sure we've got no stray corners. There's a joint there it's not liking, so we'll just replace that edge. There we go. Nice clean geometry. Yeah. The output you get if it's not quads is awful. So see, that's a nice smooth curve. If we break one of those quads like that and now do it, well, it's handled that one quite well. Hang on, let's make it worse. That's nice and awful. There we go. Now you start to get like weird shapes and weird pinching. So you can see on this side you got a nice smooth curve, but on this side it's all gone weird. Yeah, a lot of this is plugins. So this is sub-D as a plugin. In fact, we have a look at the extensions. So yeah, sub-D from TomTom. And along with sub-D, you also need quad face tools as well. This one also from TomTom. So with those two, the quad face tools allow you to do a lot of the selection and ring additions that you need for sub-D modelling, and obviously sub-D itself for the actual sub-D side of things. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I don't have a huge number of extensions these days, but yeah, that's definitely needed. Right, actually something has occurred to me. That's not curving that in very well, is it? So let's improve that. sure all the triangulation is going the right way. Okay, yep, sub D's happy with that. Right, and then the other thing we need to do real quick is just put that face back in. So the reason this is showing up as red is because that's not a quad. You've got these extra vertices here, so we need to make sure that we turn that into quad geometry, like so. Okay, there we go, now it's quads. Right, so that should subdivide nice and cleanly, like so. Quad face tools is the other one, although I do also use vertex tools, specifically this one a lot. Merging close vertices allows you to fix any vertices which could be separated by like less than a millimeter, and it just kind of joins them together to clean up any badness that you don't want. I always forget to turn this off, which means it tries to analyze the whole thing. Okay, so that gives us our curve. Obviously something we've done is we've caused it to properly smooth off all these edges, which we don't necessarily want either. So if we take the edges that we want to remain nice and sharp, and then we give them full weights on the crease tool there. And when we hit sub D, it shouldn't smooth those edges. So what we get is that instead, and then that still matches the old bad geometry that was there before. Okay, so if we just explode that, obviously, and this is the downside to using subdivision, is it creates a lot of geometry, basically. Really heavily increases the poly count. And we can fix some of that by just removing coplanar vertices. And what SketchUp lacks is the ability to merge vertices where the angle between faces is of a certain degree. So, oh, thanks autosave. So you see the angle between this face and this face is negligible. So, you know, I'd rather merge this into a single face, just to save on poly count. But again, with nanite, that's not necessarily a problem these days. So yeah, I'll leave that like that for now. Yeah, it's going to leave a bit of a crease on this side, but without subdividing it even more, I might just have to live with that for now. So I need to fix this a little bit as well. Yeah, world increase, that'll do. I'll clean up that flooring in a sec because that just needs to join up there. Steps wise, let's see how well I aligned those in the past. Make sure we've got ourselves a middle line. Okay, past me. How accurate were you? I don't think I actually rotated that enough. So from there to there, and from there to there. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. So 21 and 28, so there's an ever so slight difference between the heights there. Okay, what I'll do is I will redistribute the distances from this top step down to there. So what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Plus the top one, 16, I think. What does that give us? Yeah, looks about right. All I need to do is just line all these up. Don't worry about it, it's all good. Just need to redistribute the heights and it will all make sense. Oops. Thought that looked weird then. That's better. So 21.875 there and there. There we go, so they're equally spaced now. Should be there as well. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so just the same deal with this one now, just need to connect that to that, and then that should be it done. Actually, before I do that, just make sure that these are all joined up again. I am extending the stairs down at the extra 50 centimeters that they are lacking now that we have made the space between decks larger. So of course, as a result of that change, none of the stairs line up anymore. So this is just fixing that problem. Curve's going to be a pain, I can tell. So here's a good use case for this one here, this merging close vertices. So you can see I've misaligned that ever so slightly. Probably because I tried aligning it to the top and not the sides. So what you can do is you can just use this, say like 0.25. And that just joins those vertices together. Fixing the problem. Yeah, good point actually. First, as these need their own custom collision meshes. So, what I did with the stairs in the cryo room is I basically did cubes or cuboids around each step, and then that right-angled edge was fine with the nav mesh. It didn't have a problem with that at all. I wonder. Wondering whether I could cheese that a little bit, but no, because it's on a slope, so that's not going to work. Okay, so what is the radius of this curve? 20, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 edges. Oh yes, I think this is definitely more quad needed. Just working out the best way to do this curve and keep it the same. Yep, I definitely could. But what I'm thinking, and this may or may not work, I'm going to try and basically reform that shape. If I make a Bezier curve there to kind of capture that curve that we want, have that extend all the way to this edge here, so make a rectangle essentially, which is a Bezier curve, and then cut that into it and drop that down by the same amount. You can potentially recreate the edge we need, although that would make it the same height around there, which is what we don't want. Right, okay. So if we take that, not that, or that, or that. Just remove the bits I don't need from the group. Suppose we don't need that bit either. Yeah, this one's got one, it's a different slope, and two, it's got this curve on the edge. So we want to try and preserve this curve if we can. Actually, what I'll do is I'll do what I kind of was going to do the first time, but I'll have the subdivision fix all the bits that don't quite line up. Okay, this should work. So because we're sub-D'ing this, we need to simplify the geometry somewhat. Because this curve will come back once it's been subdivided. What you need to do is you need to provide the subdivision with something to work from. And I need to try and line this up as much as I can with that bit. Same there as well. Come on, hit the right vertice. Okay, so that's our basic shoddy geometry done. And then we'll just nudge that bit up a bit just to make it bit smoother. Right. Okay, now we just need to get rid of the triangulation. Sort out these quads here and here. Just set up these creases. Also these ones. Right, let's see how this looks. Okay, not bad at all. We've lost our curve a little bit there, but generally speaking, that's pretty much what we needed. Yeah, we did this one first, ready? Now we're doing this one. So one of the reasons I tend to try and avoid subdivision when doing some of this hard surface stuff is that if you want an exact curve, subdivision pulls edges in quite a lot, so it's difficult to match curve against curve if one bit's been subdivided and the other bit hasn't. So it's like either you use subdivision on everything or nothing if you can avoid it. Because now I gotta try and line them up. So hopefully that lot remained coplanar, so that can just clean up. Yeah, it's not too bad. It very much depends on the curve. I think for the sake of not making life difficult for ourselves, I'll line up this side with that side instead. Of course, we also have an unequal number of faces, which doesn't help. which will make life even easier for myself. Some wholly unnecessary geometry there, so that can go. If I weren't in quite so much of a hurry to get this done, I would re-poly these faces so they weren't mismatched like this. But we're kind of up against it at the moment, so I'll just fix the problem a bit, and then we can come back and sort this out properly later. This will be properly subdivisioned at some point anyway, because we want nice smooth edges on everything really, so we don't want to see any hard edges like this on any geometry. That immediately makes it look like CGI, so we will be avoiding that like the plague. It's not pretty, but it does the job for now. This side's going to be a bit easier because we're just dealing with a flat surface. Something somewhere is not coplanar. There. So I'm not going to bother with this bit behind here because it's against the wall and you can't see it. And again, when we come back and actually do this properly, all this will be smoothed off. So I think that will do there. Just smooth it off a bit more.
Didn't see that bit. That bit needs rounding off as well.
What I might do actually, because we want these to match. I'm not quite sure actually why is that one different? So I think what I did previously is I went ahead and I rounded all these edges off, I'm guessing by 5 centimeters, and I applied that bevel to them. So what I'll do is if I take a copy of that face, make that a separate object, because then we're not having to deal with these faces interfering with each other. Get rid of that bottom one there. Right, so now we should be able to round these off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I went with an offset of 5, 6 faces, like so. Because the curve overlaps with existing geometry, you get some craziness or just it not working at all. So what I tend to do is I just grab that geometry that's just a little bit too small and just merge it together. How long was that edge? 3.4, so that's still a bit too short. There we go. I'm going to leave these ones as hard edges anyway, because they're just underneath there. That went well. What on earth is it doing there? Ooh, do we have a split edge here? No, we do. Yeah, let's join them together. Better. No, more weirdness. Assuming we have a similar issue here, yeah. Duplicate edge for some reason. Where'd the camera go? There we go, all cleaned up. Though, that having been said, that could do with being brought around there. Hello.
Would you like tea?
I'd love a cup of tea, please, yes.
I wasn't sure if you still had beer or not.
I do have a bit of beer.
Okay.
Beer and
Hey
tea.
everyone, do you want tea? Coffee? Hot chocolate? Okie dokie, on its way.
Just round these off as well. Just for the look of the thing. Okay, there we go. One rejigged set of stairs. Oh, hang on, some leftovers here. Let's get rid of this stuff. So actually, now that I remember, the other thing we need to do is get rid of these railings, because we're going to replace them with the new spline railing tool that I made. We'll leave that one because it already connects to the decks above. Although actually, I will get rid of it because, yeah, we're going to have to join up the deck above as well. Yeah, I'll make a separate collision mesh for that. Once we're happy with the alignment of everything, that's the last thing I'll do. Just wondering actually whether I chop that off there. Make that part of the base. It's true, and I do get very picky with it as well. Yeah, this one's going to need pulling up there as well. I might be able to go with copy pasting this one, which would be useful. Well, bits of it anyway. Yeah, so this one's going to have to come straight into here, I think. And yeah, we'll have to manage that curve separately. Fortunately, the stairs still do fit, so we don't need to do any craziness there. Yeah, so I am going to separate this piece out and make this into its own, make that a part of the floor geometry. And then that will need its own custom bit there. So let's join these back up. Okay, so that handles the base, and then the stairs themselves are a separate object, which means we're then free to do a custom connection to it there and here. Sure, what, the whole of Medbay? So let's swap out this one first and grab the name for that one. That's Claire beeping in the kitchen. Not quite sure what's beeping, to be fair. Oh, that's the fridge beeping to say, why haven't you closed me? I don't know what the boundaries are actually for those. Thank you.
Tiffany. Everyone else is in the post. Enjoy.
Ah, there you go. So we need 100,000. I don't think we'll be getting 100,000 anytime soon. Well, I think we need to definitely do dual streaming with Twitch. I don't use TikTok personally, so I'm not familiar with it in the slightest. But Twitch, definitely. I guess I've reached that age and I'm like, no, TikTok's for young people. Yeah, I've seen people do triple streams to TikTok and YouTube as well. YouTube and Facebook. I'm not sure that we've got a big enough audience on Facebook, to be fair. I'd be perfectly happy just doing Twitch and YouTube, to be fair. Yeah, it's a fair point, Anasi. I think the average Facebook user does tend to be on the older side. Okay, so why did I make those stairs different? I'm assuming it's because the way they attach there. Weird. This is the first time I've used this tool for like properly complicated stairs. It's actually not too bad. I never did quite work out how to do the the alignment on the end pieces. You mean there's a social media platform Claire hasn't been on? Surely not. Yes, Zelaf. I have a button for that. So hang on. So basically I can define the separation between them. So if I put 2 meters, I should try and do it to 2 meters. Can't remember which ones of these I hooked up now. Ah, yeah. So that's basically separating them by 50. That separates them by 200, which is too much. There's 100. So yeah, it can definitely be done. But of course it does completely mess this bit up. But you can add additional points between it after you've done the distribution. Can't remember actually whether or not whether changing the number of balustrades actually did anything. No, it doesn't. Yeah, because when I was setting it up originally, I was trying to make it so everything was equally spread, and I think in the end I did away with just having a number of them and went with a separation distance instead. I think, oops, like 1.5 meters is about what we're looking for. And I'll finish off the run, do the distribution of them, and then fix the corner over there. Yeah, I'm going to reset the tangents on some of these. Basically, I've set it up so it adds a balustrade on every spline point, and then it scales those accordingly, according to the slope and everything. I think this particular end piece has been lacking an actual end to it, probably for about 2 years. So it's nice to finally give that an end. The stairlights won't work quite yet. I need to replace those with brand new actors, because rather than having them as part of the stair mesh itself, we're having those as separate actors that we handle separately. Basically that gives us more freedom over how they're done. Have a good one, Zelaf. Just wondering whether it needs an additional balustrade there, because obviously stretching one spline mesh around there has made it quite low poly, so if we just pop another balustrade in, that'll solve that. That'll do, I reckon. So fortunately, the stairs above are going to be the same shape and same slope, so I can just copy paste this one up onto here. So if we grab another one of those. Make sure we're on the right level. So obviously these need to be connected into the old ones. And if we get rid of the start cap and start balustrade, actually we can just fudge that for now. Okay, then we'll just spread those meshes out. Make sure they're set to 150. Redistribute the spline points. Okay. So I'll do the same here for now. I'll just remove the end pieces and just have the bar go straight into that one. It's definitely more fiddly using a spline tool to do things like that, but it's a lot more flexible. So if you've got some really, really complicated curves, it's much nicer just to draw it out with a spline tool rather than having to physically model that. Really curves like this, that would be a pain to model. Right, let's save that before anything bad happens. Okay, so to make that properly navigable, let's go ahead and give that a custom collision mesh as well. Okay, so all of these are components. That makes life a bit easier. Yeah, stairs is serious business. Hey, 3D Addict. All good, thank you. Yeah, I definitely hope we're making progress because we've got some pretty strict deadlines coming up. Okay, so this should do us, I reckon, for a custom collision for that. Let's give it a nice garish colour. I've not tried plasticity yet. What I'm doing here is I'm just copying out the collision mesh from each step so that it's in the right place. It saves me having to actually go to the bother of positioning them. And then when I get to the last one, I'll cut it out rather than copying it. That's going to need a custom mesh up there as well. So I'll group all these guys together. I'll make a copy of that as well, just so it's easier to work with in isolation. Right, so that's actually our in-game collisions there. So we've got these nice nice right-angled edges, which should be much easier for NPC collisions to work out, rather than these rounded edges which they struggle with. Yes, Anasi, that's what this is all about. Yeah, so this is all about making that separate collision mesh, so that the nav mesh basically adheres to this, and not the complex geometry there. Yeah, well, they're self-imposed strict deadlines. So we want to get the demo update done by Christmas Eve, essentially. So Christmas Eve, we want to be putting out the demo update, doing the publicity for it, and putting that in the hands of all players. But before we can get to that point, all the misaligned stairs need fixing, all the weird geometry sticking through walls needs fixing. I need to finish off the atmospheric calculations and surface level water calculations, and then from that derive whether or not life should be on that world, and whether or not it's an Earth-like world, and all those calculations. Those will be the last things I do before going into the bug fixing couple of weeks. So we've basically got 5.5 weeks to get it done. Yeah, Unreal Engine makes its own nav mesh, so all you do is build nav mesh and it creates this sort of green overlay. It uses a nav mesh agent, so you tell it how big the agent is, so basically how wide is it, how tall is it, can it fit through these doors, and if the nav mesh agent can fit through the doors, then it will obviously draw the nav mesh through there. So it computes it itself. Obviously it needs recomputing here because this is a adjusted bit of geometry. But yeah, these bits are all alright. Ah, I see. Yeah, it just Unreal just computes its own based on the geometry and the agent criteria that you give it. Obviously different sized NPCs need different nav meshes, so a chicken could walk through smaller gaps than a human, so the nav agent that draws the nav mesh for the chicken is obviously a lot smaller, so it can nav under tables and things. Yeah, I've not encountered any issues myself, but I guess as long as the nav agent can't fall down the hole, then it should just put the nav mesh across it. Yes, Mark. So once we have the external ship model as far forward as we can get it for this particular update. Then we'll redo the loading screen with the new ship model. Yes, 5.4 at the moment. 5.5 has just come out today or yesterday. I think it was yesterday. But we won't be moving to that for probably a good 3 or 4 weeks, if not a month. I did play with megalights though, and they do tend to do what they say on the tin. But in order for us to take full advantage of that, the GPU needs to have hardware ray tracing support. They do work without hardware ray tracing, but they don't do all the performance-y stuff. What I think I'll do with this actually, if I just take a straight copy of that, paste it in there, explode that, regroup it, right, then we can start getting rid of some bits that we don't need. Although, that having been said, yeah, I'll leave this particular balustrade for now. Yeah, exactly. So the idea with the nav mesh agent is that obviously you can give each NPC its own custom nav mesh depending on its physical dimensions. We don't do that yet. So right now we have a pre-computed nav mesh which is just ship wide based on the dimensions of a human. So yeah, even the cat is using that particular nav mesh right now. I believe you need to have a dynamic nav mesh to have a per NPC agent, but I'll look more into that, when we actually come to doing it. Actually, it's a quicker way of bridging this gap if I just select those bits there. Hopefully, Curviloft can fill in the gaps. Okay, that shouldn't be too much of a step height there. If I do that, it'll allow me to just square this off a bit. Okay, now I know where our edge is. Kind of an awkward joining of curves here, so I think what I'll have to do is just square off that edge maybe. I suppose actually, as long as that edge is a right angle, it'll be good for collisions. So we could just drop that down a bit. Bring that edge up slightly there. Make that one coplanar with that. Okay, not terrible. This is why I like letting Unreal Engine do the collision mesh. Sometimes doing the collisions is just as much work as doing the model itself. Curvy loft, there you go. Okay, almost there. Okay, so there's our collision mesh. This bit's missing this diagonal piece, but don't know where that went. I shall give it a temporary one for now. So why does this still have steps in it? Should not have steps. Okay, so you're good. You've got all your steps. So why does this one have steps? I must have inadvertently copied the whole step. Not to worry. Right, okay, so there is our collision mesh, and there's our original mesh. I mean, really, for a collision mesh, that doesn't need to be anywhere near as smooth as it is, but again, we're kind of in a rush to get this done, so that'll do for now. And then we just need to export that one out as the collisions. Oops, let's go and find the right folder a minute. Hey Don. I need to get this the right way around now in terms of the collision files. So this one needs that one. That needs to be complex. Sure, I've got no other collisions on there. Okay, yeah, so there's our simplified collisions. So you have to be careful, at least I've found with this, not to enable nanite on a collision mesh, because if you do, you get the situation on here where we just do this, and what it does is it gives you the nanite fallback mesh as the collision mesh, which means you've got all this weirdness going on. So if you turn off nanite on the collision mesh, and then we toggle that again, you see it goes back to the actual geometry that we want, because we need, especially for stairs and things, quite precision collision geometry to make sure that the NPCs don't struggle with it. So if we go to player collision, you see we've now got nice square edges. Okay. Actually, let's give that a quick try. Yeah, still waiting on carpet for the dev shed. As soon as the carpet's down, I can move in. Oh dear, we just had an industrial accident. See if I can move her out of the way. There we go. Hurrah! So to fix the fact that the NPCs and the player kind of judder as you go up and down the stairs, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have essentially a slope rather than steps for the capsule collision mesh, but still have the complex collision there for things like foot locking and like if you're firing a gun through or between the stairs, you don't want to be hitting like an invisible wall. So we just need to sort that out. Oh wow. Zero care in the world. Let's clean up the mess. Just poke it under there. There we go. That's it. Down there. There we go. They've now fallen into the depths of the cavity under there. If anyone wanted to explore that in the dev build, by the way, a good way of getting down is to just kind of ragdoll over the edge. If you get it just right, there we go. No, not all the way. Oh. Okay, I didn't want to fall that far. Go on, you can do it. Oh. Aha. Let's try that again. Go on, you can do it. Just shuffle our way through it. Right, land properly. Oh, Ah! That is not going to plan. Well, it's definitely doable. I've managed it a couple of times to just test out the collisions down there. Right, one last try. Oh no, straight through the wall. Well, good luck trying to get down there. If you do manage it, what you'll see is all the fin geometry that we have just put into the game. Speaking of which, that's basically all that under there. So, in case anyone's not seen it yet, this is the new keel fin underneath the ship where all the FTL capacitors are going to go. And we've also started doing the engine support at the back. Oh, let's get the sun in the right position. So it's still very much grey box geometry right now, but you can see how the curve of the back of C deck is going to form the pylons for the engines. That's probably about how big the engines will be. They generally look better if they're bigger, but the bigger you make them, the more you have to fill up the space, within the engine nacelle. That was my Discord, sorry, I forgot to set myself to mute. Yeah, Airix, Alt 1 through Alt 7 will teleport you between the decks. Obviously that's just a test feature for the moment. That will get removed at some point. And yes, good idea, Delta, actually. We need some additional teleport spots to go and explore those bits. But yeah, so that's where we're up to. And I think that is a good place to end the stream because it's been almost 4 hours. Should we have one final go at getting down there? How did they even manage that? Maybe if we try it from this side instead. Oh, 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 there we go. Okay, so we are inside the keel fin. So yeah, so the general idea is there'll be a cargo lift running up and down on this side. There will be a typical stairwell, kind of gantry stairwell on this side, and then between the two will be all the FTL capacitors, which will run up and down the entire length of this. And all that hollow space above is going to be the refinery and the gas harvesting hardware. Yeah, I was going to, but if we have a quick look at this. So the the stairs in the reactor room just so happen to conveniently line up with the stairs in the keel fin, and if we turn on G-deck wall panels, you can see that the lift just happens to also conveniently line up with where the cargo lift was going to go. Hang on, autosave is doing its thing. So it actually makes sense, because of that little bit of serendipity, to have it exactly where it is. And also because the reactor's in the middle, we'll have all the electrical feeds from the reactor going vertically straight down the shaft all the way to the bottom, which is it's going to look all kinds of epic when it's done, because you'll be able to see down the entire neck of it, which should be really cool. So yes, that's a lot of doors. Okay, so I shall leave it there, and I shall go and have a break before doing some more stairs. Yes, Bob, I expect so. Well, have a good rest of the week, everyone, and yeah, I'll keep going on with this. I'll get the other stairs sorted, and the ones in the maintenance tunnels. I probably won't get the build out this evening. There's a few more bits that need to be tidied up, and I'll finish off that second set of stairs. So expect a build sometime tomorrow. And yeah, okay, so with that, I shall say a good night, and I shall see you on Sunday's stream. Bye for now.